a new topic, reproduction. In previous chapters we discussed about and you human beings or all the living organism exhibit certain behavior, certain life process like respiration, nutrition, excretion, circulation. All these life process help for the survival of the organism on this earth. Apart from this, there is another type of life process called reproduction. The main purpose of reproduction is it helps for the perpetuation of race. Perpetuation of race means to increase their young ones, to increase their generation. We call it as life process. There are so many definitions for reproduction. Reproduction is a process by which organism give rise to offspring, or the ability of an organism to produce their new generation or their young ones. We call it as reproduction. And that means human beings give birth to human beings, cat will give birth to cat, dog will give birth to their own species. Cat cannot give birth to a dog. That type of life process we call it as reproduction. The main purpose of reproduction, what will happen if a reproduction is absent? Well, reproduction helps for the continuation of life. There won't be any life. There won't be any life. If the reproduction is absent, the species may become extinct. To continue the life on this earth, reproduction play a very important role. Not only that, reproduction creates a new DNA. In the reproduction, what is happening means creation of new DNA takes place during reproduction. Okay. How does the animals grow? Before going to the reproduction, let us discuss. You have seen that a young child has grown into an adult. And sometimes your worn out cell, for example, your RBC which is present in the blood will die for every 120 days. Again, new RBC is going to synthesized. How it is happening? What made to synthesize or what made to produce new RBC? And sometimes our worn out cells get repaired. What process is involved in this? Well, it is nothing but cell division. So cell division plays a very important role in the reproduction. Let us discuss. Cell divisions are of two types: mitosis, meiosis. Cell divisions are of how many types? Two types: mitosis, cell division; meiosis, cell division. We'll later discuss about mitosis and meiosis when we go deep into this lesson or topic. This mitosis is a kind of cell division which takes place in vegetative cells. And the meiosis is a type of cell division which takes in the reproductive cells. You all learned about the reproductive cells in class 8. Sperm, ovum, testes, ovaries, all these we call them as reproductive organs, and these we call them as reproductive cells. In the testes and ovaries, what type of reproduction will take place? Meiosis. Meiosis takes place in the reproductive cells. Now coming to the vegetative cells, apart from testes and ovaries, apart from the reproductive organs, all the cells present in our body are vegetative cells. Cells present in the intestine, cells present in the skin, cells present in the stomach. All these cells other than ovaries and testes, we call them as vegetative cells. We call them as vegetative cells. So cell division plays a very important role in the reproduction. Inside the reproductive organs, the reproductive cells or the cells present in the testes and ovaries undergo cell division to produce sperms and ovums. The cell division not only helps for the development of an organism, it also take part in the reproduction. Now let us discuss different types of reproductions. There are so many types of reproduction. Basic two important types: asexual reproduction, sexual reproduction. All this you have learnt in class 8. Types of reproduction: asexual reproduction, sexual reproduction. First we will discuss what are the major differences between sexual reproduction and asexual reproduction. In asexual reproduction, only single parent is involved. Single parent are involved. This single parent undergo cell division, and produce the identical offspring. That means they are very similar to the parent. In asexual reproduction, there won't be any gametes. Gametes are nothing but the male and female reproductive cells. We call them as gametes. Sperm is a male gamete, ovum is a female gamete. So there won't be any formation of gametes. There won't be any fusion of gametes. Such type of reproduction we call it as asexual reproduction. Here only single parent is involved. From the single parent only we get two identical daughter cells. Such type of reproduction we call it as asexual reproduction, and this asexual reproduction is very common in lower organism, unicellular organisms, protozoans, and some of the multicellular organism. Lower organism we come across asexual reproduction. Now coming to the sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction involves two parents, a male parent and a female parent. And they produce male and female gametes like sperms and ovums. The sperm and ovum fuse to form a zygote. And the species that are produced from asexual reproduction are genetically very unique, very special, genetically very unique. Why they are very unique means here the genetical combination of sperm and genetical combination of ovum takes place to produce a very unique genetical offsprings. And here zygote is formed, and fusion of gametes will take place, and the offsprings are genetically very unique. Now let us discuss about different types of asexual reproduction. I already said asexual reproduction is very common in lower organisms like amoeba, paramecium, hydra, bacteria. All these organisms undergo asexual reproduction. There are different types of asexual reproduction. First, we discuss about binary fission. Bi means two. Fission means division. In this, a single parent divides into two daughter cells. We call it as binary fission. Here, this is the organism paramecium, which is a unicellular organism. And this paramecium, during favorable condition, a constriction will be appearing on the body wall of the paramecium, and meanwhile the nucleus elongates and divides, and this constriction will deepens, and cytoplasm also divides, and two nuclei are supplied to two daughter cells, and this constriction deepens and divides this paramecium into two daughter paramecium. This type of asexual reproduction is called binary fission. Bi means two, fission means division. So two daughter cells are formed at the end of binary fission, and these daughter cells are identical to the parent. They just look like the parent. Now there is another type of sexual reproduction is seen in paramecium, that is called conjugation. Conjugation is a type of sexual reproduction. Apart from the binary fission, when the conditions are unfavorable, paramecium undergo a type of sexual reproduction called conjugation. In this conjugation, two paramecium come close together and attached at the oral groove, and this paramecium consists of two types of nucleus, macronucleus, micronuclei, and macro is vegetative in function, micro is reproductive in function. This micronucleus will divide into two daughter nuclei, and the body wall dissolves, and they will form a cytoplasmic bridge, and this nucleus will fuse to opposite. The male pronucleus will fuse with another female pronucleus, and there will be the fusion of nucleus, and a zygote is formed. After the formation of zygotes, these two paramecium get separated and they divide by the binary fission. This type of reproduction is called conjugation, but it is not there in your textbook, children. Just I am giving you information regarding the conjugation. Conjugation is a type of asexual reproduction. When the conditions are unfavorable, paramecium undergo conjugation. When the conditions are favorable, paramecium undergo binary fission. And this type of binary fission is also seen in amoeba. Amoeba is also unicellular organism. It has a nucleus, cytoplasm. So during the binary fission, a constriction appears at the body wall, and this constriction deepens, and meanwhile the nucleus elongates and divide into two daughter nuclei, and these two nucleus move to the opposite side, and this constriction deepens, and a cell membrane is formed, and two daughter cells are formed. These two daughter cells are identical to the parent. Two daughter cells are formed. That's why this is called binary fission. We come across another type of asexual reproduction called multiple fission. Multiple fission is usually seen in bacteria. You heard about plasmodium. Bacteria and protozoans also undergo multiple fission. You heard about the word plasmodium in class 8. Plasmodium is a protozoan which is responsible for for a disease called malaria. Malaria is caused by which microorganism, which protozoan? Plasmodium. Now this plasmodium will reside in the red blood cells of our body, and this the nucleus when the conditions during this multiple fission, a plasmodium developed a cyst around its body, and the nucleus will divide into many nuclei, and each nuclei is surrounded by a cytoplasm, and after that the cyst will burst and this plasmodium will be released into the blood cells. This type of division we call it as multiple fission. What we call it? Multiple fission. The next type of asexual reproduction is budding. Budding is seen in Hydra. Even this binary fission and budding you have learnt in class 8. Budding is seen in Hydra and yeast. Yeast is a fungi which is a unicellular fungi. Now Hydra belongs to phylum Coelenterata. Already the classification you have learnt in class 9. Now this Hydra, see, during budding the body wall bulges. A small swelling appears on the body wall of the Hydra, and this small bulged structure we call it as bud. The bud will grow inside or increase inside. Later the bud will develop tentacles. When the tentacles are formed, the bud get detached from the parent Hydra and lives independently. This type of reproduction is called budding. Budding can be also seen in yeast. Yeast also undergo a type of reproduction called budding. Budding is seen in Hydra and yeast. Now the next one is called fragmentation. Next type of reproduction is called fragmentation. Here what is happening? This fragmentation is seen in algae, especially in algae and fungi. What will happen? The parent will get divided into small fragments. Fragments means small pieces, and each piece will grow into a new individual. This type of reproduction is called fragmentation. Well, fragmentation means the single parent divides into small bits and each bit will develop into a new individual. This mode of reproduction is called fragmentation. Now coming to another type of very special type of reproduction called parthenogenesis. You didn't heard, it's a very new type of reproduction where this process of reproduction where there is a shift from sexual reproduction to asexual reproduction. It is a shift from sexual reproduction to asexual reproduction. In this parthenogenesis, what is happening? Young one is formed from unfertilized ovum. This type of parthenogenesis is seen in honeybees, wasps, etc. And parthenogenesis means forming a young one from unfertilized ovum. That's why I said it is shift from a sexual reproduction to asexual reproduction. Here usually young one should be formed from fertilized egg, or zygote should be formed from fertilized egg. Here what is happening? The young one is formed from unfertilized eggs. Well, you know about the honeybee. Honeybees, you learnt in class 8. There are 3 types of honeybees: worker, queen and drone. Drone is a male, queen is a female, worker is also a female. Now this honeybee will lay 2 types of eggs: unfertilized eggs and fertilized eggs. From unfertilized egg, male drone is formed. From fertilized egg, worker is formed and queen is formed. The zygote, or that young one that is formed from fertilized egg, will eat the royal jelly and get converted into queen. And workers will look after the honeybee. Here unfertilized egg nunchi the male drone is formed. From fertilized eggs, worker and queen is formed. This type of reproduction we call it as parthenogenesis. Parthenogenesis means the process of development of young ones from unfertilized ovum is called parthenogenesis. In this process, sperm developed by mitosis and ovum will developed by meiosis. Sperms are developed by mitosis and ovum will be developed by meiosis. Very important, children, parthenogenesis. Now coming to the parthenocarpy. Parthenocarpy is also a type of a reproduction which is shift from sexual to asexual, and this parthenocarpy is very common in plants. The parthenocarpy is where the fruit is formed without pollination or fertilization, which result in the production of seedless fruits. Nowadays you have come across seedless papaya, seedless grapes, seedless pomegranates, seedless tomatoes. All this why we get because of parthenocarpy. parthenocarpy because of parthenocarpy. Parthenocarpy means production of seeds without pollination and fertilization. This results for the production of seedless seeds. And this is very common in plants. Very common. Parthenocarpy is very common in plants. Now, that last one, asexual reproduction, we call it as regeneration. Regeneration is nothing but developing the last parts. It may look like fragmentation. Here fragmentation, a small bit will develop into a new individual. Here regeneration, the body, last parts will be developed. For example, if tail has been cut, a new tail is formed in the lizard because of regeneration. If the tentacles are cut, a new tentacle is formed because of regeneration. Regeneration is also seen in very lower organism, especially planaria. In planaria, the body wall will be broken into 3 bits. Each bit will develop into a head and tail. Head will develop into tail, and head will develop into tail and lead into a new individual. Thank you, children. We'll meet in the next session.